What if I told you that there is a country in the Middle East that even the most powerful empires in history could not fully conquer? A land that stood firm while mighty armies marched across continents. A nation that faced Romans, Arabs, Mongols, Ottomans, Russians, and modern superpowers, yet somehow managed to keep its identity, its borders, and its power intact. That country is Iran. For decades, powerful nations like the United States and Israel have watched Iran closely. Sanctions, pressure, covert operations, and threats have been part of the geopolitical chessboard. But despite all of this, Iran continues to stand exactly where it has always stood: strong, defiant, and extremely difficult to break. So the real question is not whether Iran has enemies. The real question is this: why is Iran so hard to conquer? Why did so many empires fail to control it? And what secret advantages allow this country to resist even the most powerful militaries on Earth? Because the truth is, Iran is not just a country. It is a fortress, and that fortress was not built by humans. It was built by nature itself. But to understand this mystery, we have to travel back in time. Long before modern politics, long before sanctions and nuclear negotiations, Iran was already a major power in the ancient world. Known historically as Persia, this land gave birth to one of the greatest empires humanity has ever seen, the Achaemenid Empire. Under rulers like Cyrus the Great, Persia expanded across vast territories, stretching from parts of Europe to South Asia. It was powerful, organized, and culturally rich. But as history moved forward, Persia faced waves of invaders. First came the Greeks, led by Alexander the Great. Then came the Arabs during the rise of Islam. Later, the Mongols stormed through Asia under Genghis Khan. Each invasion shook the region. Cities burned, empires collapsed, and millions of lives changed forever. Yet something strange kept happening. Despite being invaded again and again, Persia never truly disappeared. Its culture survived, its language survived, its people remained. Empires came and went, but Iran always reemerged. But here's the twist. The biggest reason behind this survival was not just military strength. It was geography. If you look at a map of Iran, one thing becomes immediately clear. This country looks like a massive natural fortress. To the west lies the massive Zagros Mountains. These mountains stretch for more than 1,500 kilometers, forming a powerful natural wall between Iran and its western neighbors. For any invading army coming from Iraq or the Arabian region, these mountains are the first obstacle. And they are not easy to cross. Steep slopes, narrow passes, and unpredictable weather make large-scale military movement extremely difficult. Armies that attempt to pass through often face logistical nightmares, supply shortages, slow movement, and vulnerability to ambushes. But that is just one side of the fortress. To the north lies another powerful barrier, the Alborz Mountains. These mountains stretch along the southern edge of the Caspian Sea, creating a dramatic wall that protects northern Iran. Some of these peaks rise over 5,000 meters high. That is higher than many famous mountains in Europe. The terrain is so rugged that even modern infrastructure struggles to pass through it. And if an enemy somehow manages to enter from the east, they face another challenge. Iran contains vast deserts, such as the Dasht-e-Lut and Dasht-e-Lut. These deserts are among the harshest environments on Earth. Temperatures can reach extreme levels, water sources are rare, and navigation is incredibly difficult. For a foreign army unfamiliar with the terrain, these deserts can become deadly traps. So when you combine mountains, deserts, and limited access routes, Iran becomes something extraordinary, a giant natural fortress. But geography alone is not the whole story, because even the strongest fortress needs defenders, and Iran's population plays a critical role in its resilience. Iran is not a simple single ethnicity country. It is home to Persians, Azeris, Kurds, Arabs, Baluch, and Turkmen communities. At first glance, this diversity might look like a weakness. Different cultures, different languages, different regional interests. But history has shown something fascinating. When Iran faces external threats, these groups often unite. One of the clearest examples of this unity happened during the Iran-Iraq War. In September 1980, Iraqi leader Saddam Hussein believed Iran was weak after the Iranian Revolution.
The revolution had shaken Iran's political system. The military was reorganizing, the government was unstable, and internal divisions seemed deep. To Saddam, it looked like the perfect opportunity. So Iraq launched a massive invasion. At first, Iraqi forces advanced quickly, capturing territory along the border. But what Saddam did not expect was the reaction of the Iranian people. Instead of collapsing, Iran united. Millions volunteered to defend their country. Soldiers, civilians, young men, and even teenagers joined the fight. What Saddam thought would be a quick victory turned into a brutal 8-year war. 8 years. Millions of casualties. Cities destroyed. But in the end, Iraq failed to conquer Iran. Not a single major piece of Iranian territory remained under Iraqi control. The country survived again. But here's something even more important. Iran's size makes conquest extremely difficult. The country covers more than 1.6 million square kilometers. That means it is larger than many European countries combined. An invading army cannot simply capture the border and claim victory. Even if an enemy crosses the frontier, the real challenge begins afterward. Major cities like Tehran, Isfahan, and Mashhad are located deep inside the country. This creates what military strategists call strategic depth. The deeper an enemy moves into Iranian territory, the longer its supply lines become. Fuel, food, ammunition, equipment, everything must travel hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. Meanwhile, Iranian forces become more familiar with the terrain. They know the mountains, they know the roads, they know the hidden valleys and narrow passes, and that knowledge can turn every kilometer into a battlefield. But there is one more powerful advantage Iran holds: its location near one of the most important waterways in the world, the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow passage connects the Persian Gulf to the Gulf of Oman, and through this tiny corridor flows a massive portion of the world's oil supply. Nearly 1/5 of global oil trade passes through this route. That means any conflict involving Iran has the potential to shake the global economy. Ships, tankers, and international trade all depend on this narrow waterway. Iran's coastline and strategic positioning give it enormous leverage in this region. In times of crisis, controlling or threatening this route could create pressure far beyond the Middle East. This reality makes any direct confrontation extremely risky for the world's largest powers. And that brings us back to the original question: why is Iran so difficult to conquer? Because conquering Iran is not just about defeating an army. It means fighting through mountains, crossing brutal deserts, maintaining supply lines across enormous distances, facing a population that historically unites during invasion, and risking disruption to one of the most critical energy routes on Earth. All of these factors combine to create a nearly impossible challenge. History has tested Iran many times. Empires have risen and fallen while trying to control this region. But Iran has endured. It has adapted, resisted, and survived. And that is why many strategists believe that conquering Iran would not be a quick military campaign. It would be one of the most complex and dangerous conflicts imaginable. Because Iran is more than just territory on a map. It is geography, history, culture, and resilience combined into one powerful force. A fortress shaped by nature, defended by millions, and strengthened by centuries of survival. And perhaps that is the real secret behind Iran's power. Not weapons, not politics, but endurance. The kind of endurance that only a civilization thousands of years old can possess. And that is exactly why Iran remains one of the most unconquerable nations in the world.